Okay, I want to start today with a little word association game. If I say Avon, be honest with me, where does your brain immediately go?
Hmm.
Are you thinking about, door-to-door cosmetic sales?
No.
Or maybe picturing a ski trip to that resort town in Colorado?
Or, and I think this is a big one based on the data we're looking at, you might just get completely turned around and start thinking about Idaho instead of Indiana.
Exactly, it's that classic geography mix-up. But today, we are setting the record straight. We're zooming in on the map, looking right past the mountains, deep into the heart of the Midwest.
We are talking about Avon, Indiana.
And before you ask why, we have a really interesting stack of source material today that suggests this might be one of the most interesting case studies in suburban evolution we've seen in a while.
We do. We're looking primarily at a comprehensive market guide from January 2026. It's put together by real estate expert Cara Conde. And the picture she paints is honestly pretty fascinating.
How so?
Well, she frames this town not just as a standard suburb, but as a hidden gem that is actively upgrading the lifestyle of families and professionals.
It's January 2026, and looking at these numbers, the hidden part of that description might be expiring. If you're listening, you're probably looking at these population numbers hovering between, 22,700 and 24,700.
Right around there.
Okay,
And it's climbing. The growth rate is about 1.8% every single year.
which doesn't sound like a huge number, but
But in the context of Midwestern demographics, it's significant. That is steady, sustainable growth. It tells us that people aren't just passing through, they are planting roots.
So our mission for this deep dive is to figure out why. We need to look at the specific data points, the housing values, the jobs, the travel times that are convincing people to pack up and move 15 miles west of Indianapolis.
Let's start with that geography, because 15 miles west of Indianapolis is the headline. But distance is so relative, isn't it?
Totally. In some cities, 15 miles is a quick jaunt. In others, 15 miles can feel like a life sentence.
The commute of doom.
Yeah.
We've all been there, just sitting in gridlock, watching life pass you by.
Right. But the data here suggests Avon has somehow cracked the code on that.
It does.
The source highlights a very specific magic number for the commute. It's approximately 24 minutes on average to get downtown.
Which, let's just pause and unpack that. In the landscape of 2026 urban planning, 24 minutes is an extremely attractive figure.
Yeah.
If you look at major metros, think Chicago, think New York, even parts of the expanding Sun Belt, getting to the city center in under half an hour from the suburbs is becoming a real rarity. It's usually an hour, minimum.
So a 24-minute commute basically gives you an hour of your life back every single day compared to so many other places. That's 5 hours a week. That's almost a full workday of extra time.
Exactly. And it's not just about getting to the office. It's about the connectivity to the rest of the world. The source makes a big deal about the fact that Avon is only a 15-minute drive to the airport.
That stood out to me too. But, I mean, playing devil's advocate here, unless you're a pilot, how often does airport proximity really truly matter?
In the 2026 economy, I'd argue it matters a lot more than it used to.
Okay.
Think about the modern workforce. You have consultants, sales reps, specialized technicians. You also have this massive segment of the workforce that is hybrid remote, meaning they live where they want, but they have to fly to headquarters in New York or San Francisco once a month.
That's a good point. If you have to catch a 7 a.m. flight, being 15 minutes away means you're waking up at 5 a.m. Being an hour away means you're getting up at 3 a.m.
Precisely. That difference changes your entire lifestyle. It turns travel from a nightmare into a routine. It makes the location viable for a high-level executive career in a way that a more isolated rural town just isn't.
You're not sacrificing your global access to have a lawn?
Not at all.
But how are they physically moving this many people? Is it just back roads through cornfields? Because that's where the 24 minutes claim usually falls apart. Bottlenecks.
No, and that's the infrastructure piece. The source points to major arteries like I-70 and US 36. These are high-capacity roads. The infrastructure was built to handle the traffic, which keeps that commute time reliable.
Oh, okay.
US 36 in particular is kind of the spine of the area. It's designed to move volume.
So, logically, the logistics work. You can get to work, you can get to the plane, but let's talk about the trade-off. Usually, when you move to the suburbs to save time or money, you accept that your life is going to be, well, a little bit quieter, maybe even boring.
The suburban sleepiness tax.
Right. You trade excitement for a lawn.
Yeah.
But the source uses a phrase here, big city access, small town peace. Is that just marketing fluff, or is there something real there?
I think it's a fair assessment. Honestly, based on the geography, because you are so close to Indy, you have access to the Colts games, the Pacers games, the big concerts, the world-class dining,
All the fun stuff.
all the fun stuff. But, and this is the crucial distinction, you don't have to live in the chaos of the city center.
You get the touchdown celebrations, but you don't hear the sirens all night.
Exactly. You get the amenities without the urban grind. And for a lot of families, especially those potentially moving from more congested coastal cities, that balance is the holy grail. They want the culture, but they also want the quiet Saturday morning where the only noise is a lawnmower in the distance. Avon sits right on that fault line.
Okay, so we know where it is, and we know we can leave easily. But let's talk about staying. What happens in Avon? Because my assumption with suburbs is usually great place to sleep, but you have to drive to the city to make any real money.
And that is a very 2010 way of looking at suburbs. That's the old bedroom community model.
Right.
But the 2026 economic landscape in Avon tells a very different story. This isn't just a place where people park their cars at night.
I was actually surprised looking at the employer list in the notes. I expected every suburb has retail, but there are some heavy hitters here. And one of them, well, it made me hungry immediately.
I have a feeling I know which one you're talking about.
Harlan Bakeries. The source describes it as a massive bagel production facility.
It is huge. But beyond the bagel appeal, which is high, I'll admit, it represents something important economically: manufacturing.
Right.
This facility provides hundreds of jobs. It means the town has an industrial base. It's not just office parks and Starbucks. It's actual production.
Bagels and business. I like it. That's a strong foundation. But it's not just dough, right? The source lists a significant healthcare footprint as well.
A huge one. IU Health West Hospital is a major local employer. And in economic terms, a hospital is like an anchor.
Oh, sure.
It triggers a ripple effect. When you have a major hospital, you have all the support services, the medical offices, the specialists, the labs that spring up around it. It creates this dense network of high-paying, stable jobs.
It's recession-proof mostly. People always need healthcare.
Exactly. And looking at the retail side, it seems like they have the suburban bingo card totally full. Costco, Walmart, Kroger, Lowe's, Meijer.
It sounds trivial, but that density of retail really matters for quality of life. I don't want to drive 30 minutes just to get a gallon of milk.
The source calls it a commercial boom. It means you never have to drive those 15 miles to Indy if you just need to run errands. You can live your entire week within a 5-mile radius.
And we can't ignore the logistics sector. The source mentions Amazon fulfillment centers nearby in Hendricks County.
Amazon is everywhere, true. But having them close means jobs in logistics and supply chain management. These are jobs that fuel the modern economy. And then, if we look just slightly outside the town borders, let's say you're willing to drive 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The proximity to regional giants is impressive. You have Eli Lilly, Roche Diagnostics, Anthem.
Oh, wow. Okay, so if you work in pharma or biotech, you're essentially in the prime zone.
Exactly. You are living in a quiet, safe suburb, but you are a short drive from some of the biggest pharmaceutical and healthcare companies in the world. It reinforces that idea of a thriving economy right in your backyard.
It goes back to that work-life balance argument.
It does. You aren't spending 3 hours a day in the car just to get to a good job. You can work at a global biotech firm and be home in time for dinner.
So, you've got the job, you've got the bagel, you've got the short commute. Now comes the scary part, the price tag. In 2026, housing markets can be, let's call them, intense. What does it cost to live the Avon life?
This is where the financial picture gets really interesting, especially if you're comparing it to national averages. The source notes the median home values are sitting between $345,000 and $380,000.
Okay, wait, let's pause on that. $345 to $380. In 2026 dollars.
Yes.
That feels surprisingly attainable. I feel like in many parts of the country, $350K gets you a parking space or maybe a very nice shed.
It is surprisingly attainable. The source notes that these prices are up modestly, so they aren't stagnant. It's a growing market, but they're still well below national averages. And the key comparison here is what you get for that money.
More house, more yard. That's the quote from the guide.
Right. If you are coming from a coastal city or even a more expensive suburb of Chicago, $350,000 might get you a studio apartment or a fixer-upper that needs a new roof. In Avon, that budget is getting you a legitimate family home.
We're talking 3 or 4 bedrooms, a garage, a backyard for the dog.
Exactly.
The whole thing.
That's the dream for a lot of people, just space. Space to breathe.
And the cost of living isn't eating you alive either. It's rated as a B grade with low taxes and utilities.
Which matters for the monthly budget. It's not just the mortgage principal, it's the burn rate.
Right. Low utilities and low taxes mean more disposable income to actually enjoy that access to Indianapolis we talked about earlier, or to save for college or retirement. It just lowers the financial pressure gauge.
Let's talk about the neighborhoods themselves. Because Avon isn't just one big subdivision. The source lists a few specific areas, and they seem to cater to totally different vibes.
They do, and that segmentation is a sign of a maturing housing market. You have Bridgewater, which is described as master-planned, modern family living.
Master plan usually means sidewalks, community pools, maybe a stricter HOA.
Usually, yes. It means a structured feel, everything looks cohesive. It's designed for that classic suburban experience where kids ride bikes on the sidewalk.
Then you've got Avon Trails, which is noted specifically for affordability.
So that's your entry point, maybe for the first-time buyers.
Exactly. Good for young professionals or young families just starting out who want to get into the market without stretching themselves too thin.
And for those who want to splurge,
Whispering Pines. Even the name sounds expensive.
it sounds like a place where the lawns are manicured with scissors and the birds are paid actors.
The luxury option. Larger lots, custom builds. And then you have places like Lakeland Farms and Austin N, which are listed as top spots for families.
So there's a mix. It's not just one cookie-cutter style.
And that diversity of housing stock is important for the longevity of a community. You need entry-level homes for young professionals, and you need upgrade homes for when they have families or advance in their careers. Avon seems to have that housing ladder built right into the town.
You don't have to leave to upgrade.
Exactly.
Speaking of the latter, the expert analysis in the source suggests that this is a solid investment play.
Yes, the phrase used is build equity fast. Because the area is growing, remember that 1.8% annual population growth, and because the prices are still accessible, there is potential for appreciation. It's framed as a fresh start upgrade for people fleeing high rents.
So you stop paying someone else's mortgage and start building your own asset base.
In a market that is clearly on the upswing.
Okay.
Huh.
Logically, financially, on paper, this all makes sense. But let's pivot to the vibe check. Because you can have cheap houses and good jobs, but if the town feels hollow or the schools are struggling, families won't stay.
The vibe check is crucial. You can't live in a spreadsheet.
Let's start with the schools, because for families, that is usually deal breaker number one.
And this appears to be Avon's ace in the hole. The Avon Community School Corporation is ranked number 11 in the entire state of Indiana.
Top 15 in the state. That's impressive given how many districts there are.
It is. Niche, which is a major data aggregator for schools, gives them an overall A+ rating. We are talking about over 10,000 students. This isn't a tiny private school. This is a massive public system delivering high results.
Wow.
And the source emphasizes a strong focus on sports, arts, and extracurriculars.
I saw a quote in the notes about welcoming high fives regarding the school environment. It sounds very spirited.
It does. It suggests a culture that celebrates being there. And frankly, having schools of that caliber drives property values too. Even if you don't have kids, buying a home in an A+ school district is usually the safest bet you can make in real estate.
That's a great point.
It insulates you from market downturns because there is always a line of parents waiting to buy into that district.
That makes total sense. But what do people do? I mean, besides work and go to school, I saw something in the notes about hot air balloons, and I need to know more immediately.
Yes, the Hendricks County Rib Fest.
Ribs and balloons. That is a combination I didn't know I needed, but now I'm intrigued.
It's apparently a huge local event, food, fireworks, and yes, hot air balloons launching. It speaks to that Hoosier hospitality theme the source mentions.
Right.
These aren't just generic corporate events. They are community markers. They are the things you put on the calendar every year. It's where you see your neighbors.
And there's Murphy Aquatic Park for the summer. Concerts, fireworks.
And harvest hayrides in the fall.
Sounds like they lean really hard into the seasons.
They do. And look at the parks. Washington Township Park, splash pads, trails. It paints a picture of a very active, outdoor-centric lifestyle.
Right.
It's not a place where everyone just drives into their garage and closes the door.
Yeah, the infrastructure is there for community gathering.
Right.
Which brings us to the safety aspect.
Yeah.
You can't have kids running around splash pads or going to hayrides if you don't feel safe.
And the data supports that feeling. The source cites safety grades ranging from B to A, low crime.
Okay.
And the qualitative data, the descriptions of the community, mentions an inclusive environment where neighbors know each other.
That cheers factor, where everybody knows your name.
Or at least where everybody waves when you drive by. That sense of social cohesion is really what people are buying when they move to a place like Avon. They aren't just buying the square footage, they're buying the safety network, the schools, and the shared experience of the hot air balloons in the summer. It's peace of mind.
So let's step back. We've looked at the map, we've counted the bagels, we've checked the price tags. When you pull back and look at this deep dive as a whole, what's the big picture here?
The big picture is that Avon represents a strategic middle ground. In a world where urban living is getting increasingly expensive and sometimes chaotic, and rural living can feel too isolated.
Or disconnected from the economy?
Right. Avon is sitting right in that sweet spot.
It's the Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold.
Exactly. You have the high-tier schools and the safety of a small town. You have affordability that is becoming rare. Median homes under $380K is a significant draw in 2026. But you also have legitimate economic opportunity. You aren't sacrificing your career to live there.
From bagels to biotech, the jobs are right there.
They are. And you're 15 minutes from an international airport, which connects you to the rest of the world. It feels like you're not giving up anything to move there.
It's a very modern value proposition. It acknowledges that people want space and safety, but they still need to be connected to the global economy.
They want the bandwidth in the backyard.
And clearly people are noticing. 14% growth since 2020. That is not a rounding error.
No, the secret is definitely getting out. And that brings us to the why now factor. If you look at the trajectory, 2026 seems to be a pivotal moment. The infrastructure is catching up to the population, the commercial base is solidifying.
It's transitioning from an up-and-coming spot to an arrived destination.
Well said.
It makes you wonder, though, and here's where it gets really interesting for me. We keep calling it a suburb. We've used that word a dozen times in this conversation.
Sure, it's the standard definition.
But if you have massive industrial bakeries, Amazon logistics hubs, luxury amenities, top-tier healthcare, and a population pushing 25,000, all within the town limit.
I see where you're going with this.
At what point does it stop being a suburb of Indianapolis? At what point does it become its own primary economic hub?
That is the provocative question. Traditionally, suburbs feed the city. You sleep in the suburb, you work in the city, the money flows one way. But when the suburb develops its own gravity, its own jobs, its own culture, its own economy, the dynamic shifts.
It's no longer just a moon orbiting the planet.
Right. We might be seeing the evolution of Avon from a satellite of Indy into a twin star orbiting alongside it, a place that complements the city rather than just depending on it. If you can live, work, and play without ever crossing the town line, the label suburb starts to feel a little inadequate.
A twin star. I like that image. So the next time you're scrolling through a map and you see Avon, Indiana, maybe don't keep scrolling. And definitely don't assume it's Idaho.
Please, for the sake of the geography teachers out there, do not confuse it with Idaho.
There might be a bagel, a hot air balloon, and a great investment opportunity waiting for you right there. That's all for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.